Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mrs. here. Before we start this video, I'm just gonna have a quick announcement. I'm gonna do this for some of my videos from now on, and then the rest of the times you'll just find a link in the description below. I'm now working with a group of wonderful and very talented individuals on a project called Axis Vanguard. It's basically a journalism stint where we do various articles, deck studies, the history of archetypes. And the reason why you see Blade Master here is because I've done various Blade Master content for them. So I'm really excited about it. I hope you guys are too. I know nobody asked for this, but really that's where most of my time has been going to recently. Please do check out the website. Even if you don't want to read my crap articles, I can promise you that a lot of the other articles really help you learn a lot more about matchups as well as deck building and history of archetypes, which I think is really neat as well. Various meta contenders, like you will see stuff like Chrono Fang, Chrono Jet, some of the more recent articles that we've put up, and we're still working on more. Like there's a Night Rose one coming in the future and whatnot. I may even do a Night Rose deck profile, so let me know if you guys want that. So yeah, thank you all, and now to the actual video. Today's deck profile is on the 7 Cs. As you probably know, a lot of people have done deck profiles on it. 7 Cs all have a unique mechanic. They all love treasure, just tons and tons and tons of treasure. They just want treasure, right? They get treasure and then they beat you to death. So it's basically 2017 all over again. But 7 Cs does have some issues. I mean, cost is not an issue, but what are the other problems? Well, first of all, it really has a problem in terms of board maintenance. It has a problem getting to its main grade 3 target, Night Miss, and it also just, if the opponent guards the attacks early on, then you just die, right? Well, yes, but that's also because most players don't put enough pressure. I've seen most lists, and most of them play about the same. They all rely on almost the same tactics. And then I saw a few queer individuals who came up and tried to put this guy, Skeleton Seas Navigator, into Night Rose. And they were like, because we can hyper mill, then we can build up the drop zone fast for Night Rose, and then we can win. And I was like, okay, that seems like a neat suggestion, but can we do that for 7 Cs? Today's list is my attempt at that. And in the makings of it, I accidentally also created the cheapest 7 Cs list available. This deck, in terms of Singapore dollars, cost me about, $20 to build. And this is all using prices from Big Web and UUT. You can go and cross-reference it. The only, expensive cards, I would say, is Night Mist, who is $3 a piece, and Night Spinel, who is $1 a piece. You want to be a bit stingy. The Crit Sentinel may be a bit expensive, but that's it. Everything else is built from commons and rares. And 94% of this, everything from this set can be built out of the box from Butterfly, the Moonlight, the Vbt09, except this guy, because Captain Nightkid is cute. So we will now go on to the deck profile. I will be skipping the obvious points, such that, for example, all of the 7 Cs units have the ability to attack and gain a treasure marker. I'm going to skip that when I talk about the card. So let's go to Night Miss. We play 4 Night Miss. His skill, attack, get the treasure marker. He's the reason why you need treasure markers, you see. So when you have 1, he gets the ability that all your 7 Cs unit can attack and intercept from the back row. Basically, you have now 5 different units that can attack separately. But you would be like, hey, Axel was bad when we had Axel 1, so why would we just open more circles? Well, when you're at 3 treasure markers, Night Miss has the ability that he gives all your 7 Cs units plus 5k power. Is it all or just the rear guard? Yeah, all units with 7 Cs in the name, if I'm not mistaken. Just correct me in the comment section below if I'm wrong. But anyways, so now all of them have at least a base 5k guard, which is pretty punishing if you have a total of 6 attacks coming your way. But you may be like, that's just 6 attacks. We can block it, no problem. Get defensive trigger, we win. Well, if you get 6 treasure markers, Night Miss has a new skill. After he attacks, it does not have to hit. Just after he attacks, stand your whole board except him. So all of your other 5 attackers can just attack again, which is insane. But then again, the question is, if a treasure marker can be received by on hit, then isn't that relatively difficult to get the skill? Yes and no, because a lot of people, and I mean this, a lot of people are forgetting that you can get a treasure marker by successfully attacking a rear guard with a 7Cs unit, which means if you can't swing for their main, you swing for their rear, and you will also gain treasure markers. So that's just one thing I encourage everyone to keep in mind when playing 7Cs, because it's just something that a lot of people forget. So I shall now move this out of the way. And that's really the only grade 3 in this deck. It's just 4 Night Mist. And so a lot of people will be like, how are you going to get the right consistency? Well, you will see. For our grade 2 lineup, we play 4 Night Spinel, 4 Slash Shade, and 2 Negro Lazy. I will go from top to bottom. Night Spinel. My bad. Night Spinel. Night Spinel, attack hit, get the treasure marker. When placed, for Counterblast 1, mill the top 2 cards of your deck. She gets to Superior Call 1 7Cs unit from the drop zone except her. So you can't multi-call like Night Spinel into Night Spinel into Night Spinel into Night Spinel. You can't do that. But there is another combination, which I'm going to go through very soon. But Night Spinel is basically the main card to fill your board. And it is pretty good by itself. I know like GI Station plays like 4 Night Mist, like G2 Night Mist to Superior Call, which is not a bad option. But I really don't think it's necessary, because you want your board to have 7Cs units, not other people. The other people can help in the early game. But then again, like for example, back to GI Station's list, you don't really build a drop zone very well with that thing. And even if you do use Night Mist skill on the G2, at most you're superior calling a grade 1 or 0, which really for Counterblast, that's pretty lame. In a late game, Night Mist scales not very well in the 7Cs. And that is what, and also due to, budget is one thing, but I could afford it, but I just still chose not to, because I still think it's not that valuable. Night Spinel is sufficient. Slash Shade. Really, he just gains a treasure, he just gains 15k when he has a marker. This counts for treasure as well as protect too. Yes, the worst gift in the game. I'm kidding, don't hurt me. Yeah, he gains 15k just by having one of those attached to him, which is solid. So that is the 7Cs beat stick. I'm not going any further into that. It's quite self-explanatory. And then we have this guy, 2 Negro Lazy. Now, Negro Lazy is the disappointment of Night Rose. That's why he's here. But not just that. Negro Lazy has a lot more interactions with 7Cs. And now that we have come to the topic of grade 0s, now I can also bring up Night Spinel and why this is important. First of all, we have Night Runner. That was not supposed to happen. We have Night Runner. Night Runner is a grade 0 and is basically Greed Shade, just 300% cheaper. Why this is important? If you happen to have Night Runner in the drop zone, you can use Negro Lazy and just pop. You get a free call for free, completely free, and then trigger Night Runner skill, mill the top 2 cards, bind him, add a 7Cs to your hand. So when you add a 7Cs to your hand, you can literally add anything from the toolbox. You can add Night Mist if you really need that hand consistency. And he does, by the way. He does do that and it helps. You can add, you can add Rise Tutor if you want just a grade 1 to attack. You can add Slash Shade if you need a beat stick. Night Spinel if you need a superior call. So the entire drop zone just comes to life with Night Runner. And that's what makes this guy just really quite valuable. And this also applies for Night Spinel. You can use Night Spinel to go into Night Runner and then Night Runner into Night Spinel. And that is actually a really effective combination to fill a board and gain the drop zone. So just don't forget that you can combo into these two. Night Spinel and Night Runner can't combo into themselves. So you can't go Night Runner into Night Runner into Night Runner into Night Runner. You can't do that. And neither can you go Night Spinel into Night Spinel into Night Spinel into Night Spinel. But you can go into each other and alternate. And that is a relatively powerful field play that is available to you even at turn 2. So keep that in mind. The other reason why this is valuable is simply because you get to superior call a grade 0, so it's just a free proc, right? So let's say I just call a draw trigger. Why would that be valuable? Because we have these two, Night Crow and Navigator. So I'm going to let you keep that in mind as I go through the grade 1s, but just remember that with Negro Bone, is it Negro Bone? Negro Lazy, we still get a free grade 0 to play around as a token, which is still neat. He is played at a 2 and not 4 because obviously we want more 7Cs units than non-7Cs units. But in terms of tempo, he's a really good turn 2 play. You could still play him at turn 3, but as he scales up to late game, Negro Lazy is practically useless, just like in Night Rose. So keep that in mind. New playmat. Now for the great ones. We play 4 7 Skeleton Seas Navigator. We play 4 of Granblue's MVP, Negro Bone. We play 4 of this guy, Rice Tutor, and then 3 of Night Crow. And we will go through him why. So first up, we'll go from bottom up for relatively obvious reasons. Night Crow used to be busted in Premium back in 2016. But I'm surprised that he still holds up relatively well even in V. Same treasure skill. And then after that, from the drop zone, his skill is Soul Blast 1, retire one of your units, and then choose this card, Night Crow, and then you just get to Superior Call. Yeah, you just get to Superior Call him to the rear guard. Just retire one of your rear guards, and then just Superior Call him. This is insanely good because for many reasons. First of all, like I said, with that grade 0 token that you get from Negro Lazy, you just pop him free Night Crow, which is, of course, just wow, that's not bad for a Soul Blast. Secondly, you can also combo that with this guy, Skeleton Seas Navigator. Skeleton Seas Navigator, he builds up the drop, but he needs to rest 2 rear guards, which can be a relatively penalizing cost, right? Well, what if I told you can abuse that? You play Skeleton Seas Navigator, and then have another unit, let's say that token again. You rest him, and of course Skeleton Seas Navigator, you mill 5. When you mill 5, your drop zone increases, and let's say there's a Night Crow there. You can Soul Blast, retire the token, and Superior Call a Night Crow. Now that is value. And you can do this all on turn 2, or even better, turn 1, if you just have the right pieces in your hand. Like I said, this deck can scale really quickly if you know what you're doing. If you know how you build it, it can scale quickly. And that's why I was so excited to review this deck. We play 3 Night Crow and not 4. Do I have 4 Night Crow? Well, of course I do. But why am I not playing 4 Night Crow? When you build the drop zone, right, it doesn't really matter whether you have 4, 3, 2, 1 or 0 Night Crow. Or it actually does. But 4 to 3, it doesn't really matter. First of all, you need the grade 1 slots for something else. Negro Bone and Skeleton Seas Navigator tilt a lot better. So they are definitely a 4 off. So when comparing Rice Tutor to Night Crow, why is Night Crow only at a 3? At least for this list. I'll explain Rice Tutor's skill and then we will compare. Rice Tutor, treasure skill, when he has a treasure marker, or just a marker, so you could have this or this. Actually, I think just a treasure marker. So just this. Doesn't matter. So when you just have a marker, right, he gets intercept. And he can intercept from the back row in collaboration with the skill of Night Mist, which Night Mist's first skill, when there's at least 1 treasure marker, you can attack from the back row and intercept from the back row. So this helps you because by popping a Rice Tutor on the board, you get a free, first of all, an 8k swinger from the back row. But let's say you don't want to use him as a tank, you just want to use him regular boost. That's fine. If you need shield, Rice Tutor can also be used as shield. Just throw him out, he gains 10k shield as an intercept. It's pretty good. Comparing these two, because of the fact that Night Crow can Superior Call himself back, and he's relatively versatile, I'd rather play him at 3 and Rice Tutor at 4, since Rice Tutor needs a bit more assistance getting on the board. In addition, Night Crow only Superior Calls himself onto the board. Then he's just a regular 8 or with Night Mist skill 13k beater. That's it. That's all he can do. So that's why scaling up to late game, I rather more shield value, and that's where Rice Tutor comes in. That's not to say Night Crow is a bad card, because he is good no matter where it is. Like I showed you the combo just now, it can help, and that's why he's still being played at 2. I have explained Skeleton Seas Navigator, and he's the main engine for this deck. He builds the drop zone really fast, and I feel 7Cs can abuse this a lot more than Night Rose, although a lot of people are on the contrary opinion. That's fine. We are all entitled to our own opinion, but I still find it really fun to build. Like I have milled a lot of cards and build the drop zone really fast with Skeleton Seas Navigator, especially due to cards like this guy, Negro Bone, Night Spinel, Negro Lazy. Yeah, I got his name right. They all help. And it's just really cool when you just have the whole board built back up together. Yes, one of the 7C's greatest weakness right now is board control. So if, like, for example, you run into my good old boy Soen, you'll be like, oh no, my board is dead. You can relatively build it back with relatively low cost. And although, yes, it is difficult to constantly rebuild it every turn, let's say you have a board, you swing and deal large numbers of aggression, he destroys your board, you can build it back at least 1 to 2 more times, and then you die if you just don't do the aggression right. But no matter the fact is, this card just severely boosts the survivability and the quality of your drop zone, because without him, you are limited to strictly just this and this to milling your drop zone. And to the 5 people out there who play Greed Shade in this deck, that too. But what is the point of that, right? You also notice that I don't play Tommy the Ghosty Brothers. And that's for a very easy reason. Tommy the Ghosty Brothers is strictly an on-plays from hand. But this deck focuses on getting your stuff from the drop zone. So even if you call him from hand, such and get a Night Mist, well done. First of all, he's not even 7Cs, so scaling into late game, he's not very effective. Secondly, and most importantly, if you get Night Mist from hand, just regularly by draw, or you just happen to get him by stuff like, Night Runner, then Tommy the Ghosty Brothers is literally a sitting duck at just a 8k vanilla, or maybe 13k if you have 5 cards in the drop zone, and that's it. He's not worth it. I mean, if you have the money, you can go ahead. I had the money, but I bought it, but for a different deck. I didn't feel this deck needed it. And lastly, for Grand Blue's brand new MVP, we have Negro Bone. I just cannot tell you how important this guy is. You need to discard a card from your hand and take Negro Bone and put it at the bottom of the deck when he's in the drop zone. You Superior Call a grade 1 card to your rear guard. If you have 10 or more cards, you can call regardless of the grade. Remember Skeleton Seas Navigator? He mills 5. If you use him at least once, you get 5. You use him twice, you get 10. And even if you don't use him, as the game scales up while you discard mill by other methods like Night Spinel and the aforementioned Night Runner, you can build a drop of 10 by at least your first grade 3 ride if you are playing it correctly. Even if you don't, you would have 8, and then by the second turn you're on grade 3, you would have 10 if you're playing this right. And then after that, you can just use him, discard anybody, and then pops a new attacker. Slash Shade. Or if you just need to fill the board again, Night Spinel, pull someone new, Slash Shade. So this is really the main reason why milling for 7Cs is quite important. If you try this build, you need Negro Bone. If you just play Grand Blue in general, you need Negro Bone. It just really helps. And this is the one card that really boosts the survivability of the deck. Sure, not a lot of people have thought about it, just a few people, because 7Cs came out and a reveal a long time ago, and then after that came all the Night Row support. But looking back at the interactions, I feel that the 7Cs has really benefited from Negro Lazy and Negro Bone, albeit 7Cs benefits more from Negro Lazy. So I still think this is worth a 4 off, even though most competitive Night Rows lists these days play 3. I think 7Cs can still play the 4, especially when you mill, because every card counts. The more Negro Bone you have, the faster you can rebuild the board. So why not, right? Why not? Lastly, we play 4 Night Runner. Like I said just now, Night Runner is the 300% cheaper Greed Shade. His skill's simple, bind him, and then after that, just, mill the top 2 cards. Add a 7Cs card from your drop zone to your hand, like I said just now. So the more stuff you have in the drop zone in general for 7Cs, the bigger your toolbox is for you to expand. Drawback, the only drawback I can think of is you can't do Night Runner combo into taking a Night Runner into a Night Runner into a Night Runner. But like I said previously, you can do it into a Night Spinel and then combo back into Night Runner, and then so on and so forth. It is still possible. As well as the Grade 0 lineup, 1 Captain Night Kid. I mean, seriously, you can play what you want. I just think Night Kid is cute. We play 6 draw. Is that 6 draw? 6 draw, yep. We play 6 draw. Oh, you can't see. 6 draw for heal, and we play 6 crit. The crit also, oh, you can't see. The crit being the crit sentinel. We don't play the draw PG for a very easy reason. Our hand size sucks. So we need 6 draw, but at the same time we need to play the crit sentinel because this card can block quite a fair bit of attacks with just itself. In the case of Night Rose, it's because she likes crit pressure. That's why I do play Rampage Shade in Night Rose as well. But Rampage Shade here is really used more defensively than offensively. I mean, if you pull it, it's a crit, right? But I'm saying that the point of why we chose Rampage Shade in 7 Seas is because it has a lot more defensive value that it can offer for the deck. I would say Rampage Shade is actually one of the more expensive cards in this set. But then again, every other card is quite cheap. So if you can, please try and play for Rampage Shade. I think it's quite worth it. Alright, and that summarizes it for our 7 Seas deck profile. I really hope, I'm just going to drop treasure markers here. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I've enjoyed testing this deck severely. It is one of the best, most fun budget decks I've had in a long time. I may do a Night Rose deck profile. Let me know if y'all want that, because my Night Rose deck profile is not 100% full build. In the case that I'm trying a different approach, I am using a Ruin Shade instead of Greed Shade because I'm trying a more offensive build, whereas most people just try and build mid-range. If y'all want to see that, let me know. I'll be more than happy to review that, but it really also depends on my time. I'm seriously pressed. Besides doing the Axis Vanguard project, I just have pure school. I have a whole bunch of exams coming up, so you will not hear from me, like I said, a lot often. But once comes November, I'll be reviewing a lot more stuff, a lot more battles videos, just a lot more content. So you can look out for that. But I built this deck. I hope you all enjoy it because I know you guys are huge fans of budget deck profiles. And I hope that my invention of, or not really my invention, just my throw onto Hypermill 7 Seas was worth your time. Thank you for watching.